I'm real revolutionary right now. Black power.
Support this man, Black media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Today is Monday, January 9th, 2023. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. After 4 days and 15 rounds of voting, Republican Congressman Kevin McCarthy finally becomes Speaker of the House. It was lots of drama over the weekend. Louisiana Congressman Troy Carter will join us tonight to talk about how McCarthy was able to win the seat, but also what is next with him being in control. We'll also replay for you the speech of Congressman Hakeem Jeffries as he laid it out to the Republicans and signaled how it's going to run now that he is in charge of the Democratic caucus. The Atlanta area special grand jury investigating what took place with the election there. They have completed their probe of whether former President Donald Trump and his allies violated the law in their efforts to overturn the 2020 election. We'll discuss where that information is going. Plus, December's job report showed there was steady growth in 2022, but what did it mean for African Americans and what can we expect in 2023? We will talk to a CEO about that as well. Plus, great news. Buffalo Bills player Demar Hamlin is no longer in the hospital. He has been released and sent back home to Buffalo. The music industry has been hit by several losses. The founding member of the Earth, Wind & Fire, Anita Pointer, as well as a prominent gospel singer, all have passed away in the last week. We'll have those in memoriams for you as well. Plus, we continue our New You in 2023. My homie Cutie Mac is going to be here talking about nutrition and his 6-week Super You program. Folks, it is time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the biz, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
Folks, this is a live look at the floor of the United States House.
It's more like rules.
As they are talking about the rules package, the Republicans are pushing it forward. Let's hear from Congressman Stephen Horsford, please, who leads the Congressional Black Caucus.
McCarthy and MAGA Republicans want to defund the IRS so that their millionaire and billionaire friends don't have to pay their fair share in taxes, while hardworking people in Nevada's 4th District pick up the tab. There's a persistent problem with the wealthiest Americans evading taxes or hiding their money in secret offshore bank accounts in order to avoid paying their tax obligations. In fact, according to a new Syracuse University analysis, low-income wage earners were audited 5.5 times more than the people in every other tax bracket in 2022. Democrats put people over politics and provided the resources and funding that the IRS needs to go after the super rich tax cheats. It is not fair that taxpayers with lower incomes are more likely to be audited than high-income taxpayers. And adding additional insult, their first bill adds more than $100 billion to the deficit over the next 10 years. What does that say about reducing our deficit? Stop this hypocritical.
Gentleman's time has expired. Gentleman from Oklahoma.
I am.
I ask for my time. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that the Speaker be authorized to postpone the vote on ordering the previous
Nevada,
question.
who is the new chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. Joining us right now is Congressman Troy Carter. Congressman, glad to have you back on Roland Martin Unfiltered. The reason we are here having this conversation is because Kevin McCarthy, after 15 rounds, got the votes necessary for him to become Speaker of the House. He made a lot of promises, which includes making changes to how the Rules Committee is, to how the House is governed. The problem he has now is he now has to get the votes to his own caucus to implement those new rules, and that's what the debate is about right now.
Essentially what happened the other night was an indication that the preemptive or the presumptive speaker, rather, felt that he had checks left, but no money in the bank account. You're writing checks for things that you can't cash, giving away the power of the speakership, moving away from the opportunity to be able to govern. The speakership now is so diluted because essentially Mr. McCarthy was held hostage by the most conservative, the far right members of the United States Congress, which now puts us in a position where it's going to be very difficult for them to be able to get a consensus, particularly with the very slim lead that they enjoy. When you look at this rules package that is being debated now and will be voted on, it attempts to change many of the positive things that were done by the Democratic Party, but things that will definitely hurt the American people by taking away those extra IRS agents. They seem to think that this is designed to go after ordinary citizens. It's not. It's designed to go after those that have evaded paying their taxes.
In fact, Jennifer Yellen, Jennifer Yellen, who is the Treasury Secretary, has made it perfectly clear: no one nor family making less than $400,000 is going to be audited by these new folks.
And the reality is they know this. Roland, they know this, but they also know that that's not who they're there to protect. Apparently, they're more interested in protecting those tax cheats and those that are making more than $400,000 than the average, hardworking American people who happen to be Republican as well as Democrat.
You talk about the issue that he is going to be facing. He's a perfect example. This is Texas Republican Congressman Tony Gonzalez. He tweeted this out 3 days ago: "I am a no on the House rules package. Welcome to the 118th Congress." And so there are other Republicans who don't like the deals that Kevin McCarthy cut in order to secure the votes necessary. And clearly Democrats are not going to go along with it. And so now we're going to be back at the whole piece here. Now, but clarify this here. Okay, so they want to defund the IRS, but won't that require the Senate to agree and the president to sign the bill? The House just can't say, oh, we're going to stop funding the IRS. That actually has to be a congressional deal signed into law by the president, correct?
That is correct. What you have is going to be a lot of brinksmanship, a lot of grandstanding, a lot of barking, with fortunately, in this case, no bite. Because even if they were successful in getting that off the floor to change the IRS structure or to defund those agents, this is not something that the Republican Party or the House can unilaterally do without the confirmation of the Senate.
So what we're seeing here is more political theater, them trying to appeal to their base, Fox News, conservative talk radio. So no matter what they do, now granted, we also talk about the House rules. There are some other things that can be changed that only applies to how the House is governed. When we start talking about cutting this and cutting that, you cannot just unilaterally decide that in the House without the Senate going along with it.
No, what they're attempting to do, Roland, is change the rules by which we govern. So if you change the rules, you make it more easier in some areas, more difficult in others, take away certain privileges, add additional ones. If you manipulate the rules, that puts you in a position to expedite cutting things that you don't like or expedite advancing things that you do like. But even with that, it's not a lawmaking body. At the end of the day, you can change the rules on how we govern, but ultimately it still has to go to the upper chamber, which is the Senate, for final passage. And of course, the president has to sign it. And if he signs it and they don't like it or they don't sign it, then it's not law. So what you're going to see is more of what you saw the other night. A lot of political theater, a lot of hate speak, a lot of chest beating, but at the end of the day, very little governing.
So what we're about to, again, and I keep warning people, I was up late watching everything unfold Friday night, early Saturday morning, and we saw how Kevin McCarthy went over and how he whispered and was talking to Matt Gaetz, who changed his mind to vote present, and then that caused McCarthy to hurry up and stop the vote to adjourn. The Republicans flipped, and then that led to the vote, to be elected speaker. But again, when you have to cut that many deals, it's going to tick off even some people who were on your side, and now they can sit here and, again, like terrorists, negotiate over and over and over again. And so it's going to be hilarious, frankly, just to watch what happens when they try to move something forward, knowing full well if 5, 6, or 8 Republicans disagree, it can't get passed without some Democratic support.
And without there being another request for a ransom. Every time the speaker has to advance a bill, he's going to have to respond to those ransom requests. Listen, there's no way to govern. There's no way. The American people don't expect us to be here having to answer to unrealistic ransom demands from members of your party because they want this or they want that. In a true democracy, we should be working together for common goals. We don't have common goals. Their goal is to undo anything that looked like it may have been something that was passed by Democrats. And unfortunately, those things are all things that benefit the American people, not just Democrats. They impact and they better the lives of Democratic people across the country, Republican people across the country, people of all backgrounds and races. Unfortunately, this conference of Republicans seem to be so hell-bent on holding the gavel and less concerned on passing good policy.
Again, we can expect a whole lot of drama taking place. And frankly, Congressman, I think it's going to be a lot of bickering, a lot of floor speeches, a lot of everything else. I don't think it's going to be, frankly, a lot of governing because, again, I think what you'll end up seeing, you're going to end up seeing a lot of infighting among the Republican caucus, and Democrats is going to be sitting there going, hey, let me know when y'all done.
Well, I tell you what Democrats are going to be doing. We're going to continue to set policy. We're going to continue to communicate with the American people. We're going to continue to tell the true story of what's happening in the people's house. We're going to talk about the things that they use as whistleblowing efforts to try to speak to a certain audience while keeping away from another. We're going to make it clear so the American people know exactly what they're doing. We're not going to sit back and just let them run because they have the majority. We are going to continue to push forward. We're going to block bad legislation as best we can. We're going to work closely with our members of the Senate to make sure that that bad legislation does not get out of the Senate chambers. And we're going to bring our case to the American people so they can see who fights for the American people and who wants to have political theater, hate speak, and backwards thinking that we can no longer afford. We're going to be busy. You can expect that this Democratic caucus is going to be ever present on your show and every other show to make sure that we are informing the American people of what's happening in their capital.
All right, Congressman Troy Carter, we surely appreciate it. Thanks a lot. All right, folks, going to a break. We come back. We're going to play for you in its entirety the speech that Congressman Hakeem Jeffries gave early Saturday morning. He let them know it's a whole new day. I'm the new sheriff in town. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
I love directing. It's a different kind of piece. I do believe that the 30 years I was acting was to prepare me for what I'm supposed to be doing, and that what I'm really am good at.
But when you were acting, were you even thinking about directing?
Nope.
Were you? So what the hell happened?
If you had asked me 15 years ago, I probably would have said, no, I don't know. I was doing Ava DuVernay's first film, I Will Follow. Mm-hmm. And during that process, I think because it was her first film, maybe
She's self-taught.
Absolutely. I probably gave too many suggestions. And at some point, Ava said to me, I think you're a director and you don't know it.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
My name is Charlie Wilson.
Hi, I'm Sally Richardson Whitfield.
And I'm Dodger Whitfield.
Hey everybody, this is your man Fred Hammond, and you're watching Roland Martin, my man, Unfiltered.
All right, folks, before Kevin McCarthy got the gavel on Saturday, early Saturday morning, there was a whole process there in terms of Democrats, Republicans coming out, and the Democratic leader, Hakeem Jeffries, he spoke first. And folks, when I say Kevin McCarthy took his 16th L, imagine losing all those rounds, and then you get to then follow Hakeem Jeffries after the speech that he gave, where he let everybody know how Democrats, what they've done in the past, and how they're going to operate in the future. Here is his speech in its entirety.
Madam Clerk, Whip Clark, distinguished members of the House Democratic Caucus and the House Republican Conference, it's my high honor and distinct privilege to finally be able to welcome all of you to the 118th Congress. Let me just begin by thanking my good friend, Pete Aguilar, for his very generous words of introduction and for placing my name into nomination a total of 9 times. And I also want to thank my other colleagues from the Democratic Caucus for your generous words of nomination as well. Jim Clyburn, Catherine Clark, Ted Lieu, Dean Phillips, Joe Neguse, and Veronica Escobar. I also want to thank my colleagues, my friends in the House Democratic Caucus for your perseverance, for your strength, for your friendship, for your unanimity of purpose, and for your unanimous support. And I simply want to say that that showing of strength is not for any one particular individual. It will be a showing of strength throughout the 118th Congress, unanimity of purpose on behalf of the American people. Before I proceed any further, let me begin by acknowledging the distinguished gentle lady from the great state of California, the iconic, the heroic, the legendary Speaker Emerita, Nancy D'Alessandro Pelosi. And without question in my mind, Speaker Emerita Pelosi will go down in history as the greatest speaker of all time. Throughout her time in Congress, she's been a legendary legislator, a fabulous facilitator, and a no-nonsense negotiator. We know that Nancy Pelosi is a woman of faith, a loving wife, a mother of 5, a grandmother of 9, a defender of democracy, a voice for the voiceless, and a powerful champion for the children, the climate, Charm City, California, the caucus, the Congress, the country, and the Constitution. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for all that you have done. It's an honor to stand on your broad shoulders. As well as the shoulders of the great Steny Hoyer and the great Jim Clyburn, 2 consequential leaders in their own right. Now, the scripture says in Galatians, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time, we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Over the last 2 years, House Democrats, in partnership with President Biden and our colleagues in the Senate, have been hard at work on behalf of the American people, getting big things done. We passed the American Rescue Plan, saved the economy from a deep recession, put shots in arms, money in pockets, and kids back in school. We passed the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act to create millions of good-paying jobs, fix our crumbling bridges, roads, tunnels, our airports, a sewer and water system, our mass transportation systems, and ensure high-speed internet access in every single community. We passed gun safety legislation for the first time in 30 years that will save lives and make our communities safer. We passed the CHIPS and Science Act to bring domestic manufacturing jobs back home to the United States of America and ensure that our workforce has the skills to succeed in the 21st century economy. And we passed the Inflation Reduction Act to strike a dramatic blow against the climate crisis, set our planet on a sustainable trajectory forward, lower energy costs, strengthen the Affordable Care Act, lower health care costs, and drive down the high price of life-saving prescription drugs for millions of Americans. It was one of the most consequential Congresses in American history. President Biden gets the job done, and the D in Democrat stands for deliver. So over the next 2 years, over the next 2 years, as we begin this 118th Congress, let us continue to fight for lower costs. Let us continue to fight in this Congress for better paying jobs. Let us continue to fight in this Congress for safer communities. Let us continue to fight in this Congress to defend democracy. Let us continue to fight in this Congress to put and protect the public interest. Let us continue to fight in this Congress for economic opportunity in every single zip code. And let us continue to fight in this Congress for reproductive freedom. Because as Democrats, we do believe in a country for everyone.
My panel, Leon Malvo, I'm a Congo Dabinga, Representative Renita Shannon. I got a couple of minutes before I go to break. Real quick here, Omakongo. It was to watch him lay out what Democrats have done. Republicans, the reason he kept stopping because Republicans were not happy, were jeering him. All he did was tell the truth.
All he did was tell the truth, man. It was the A to Z's of democracy. I mean, the way he laid it all down. And he's just so cool with it, man. It's like you don't really know that you're just getting these jabs thrown at you. It's like bam, bam, bam. But really, at the end of the day, you just got to respect what the brother did, what he continued to do, and what all of the Democrats have done to have those continued unanimous votes. And I'm glad you had the congressman on earlier because the Democrats have made it clear that they are not going to stop fighting. They're going to keep doing the work for the American people. They are a big tent. You got everybody who are on the more conservative side, and then you got people down to the AOCs and the Rashida Tlaibs. I mean, they see what the larger purpose is. And really, the Republicans have shown full out in front of everybody that they do not have the ability to govern, that they are petty, that they are evil, and they are vindictive. And they spent all of that time fighting over who's going to have the right to investigate Hunter Biden. That's what they gave the American people. And so we need to continue to fight. We need to continue to support Jeffries and everybody else who was there, because at the end of the day, in these 2 years, we got to continue building the case to be able to get them out in the next election.
Hold tight 1 second. We come back. We're going to get the response from Julian and Renita. We're also going to finish the rest of his speech. And of course, you know, he is from Brooklyn, and so he loves dropping references to Notorious B.I.G. on the floor. And so let's just say when he did a walk through A through Z, Republicans are still trying to figure out, man, we ain't got nobody on our side with that kind of flow. All right, folks, we're going to show that when we come back. Don't forget to support us on the Black Star Network. Download the app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Support our Bring the Funk fan club. Send check and money orders, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered, PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo, RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
White nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen shooting.
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
The next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach. The number of people working from home has quadrupled to almost 30%. you're going to learn how you can now create your money space. It can impact your mood, your mindset, and your ability to get wealthy. Interior designer Nikki Klug joins us to share exactly what you need to do to create a winning workspace.
Make a space that is going to instantly put you in the mindset so that you can be more productive, so that you're organized, so that you're inspired, or you're really focusing in on the task at hand.
That's right here on Get Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
Hi, y'all doing? It's your favorite funny girl, Amanda Seals.
Hi, I'm Anthony Brown from Anthony Brown and Group Therapy.
What up, Lana Well, and you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, here's the rest of the speech from Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader, now Democratic minority leader, took place early Saturday morning in the nation's capital.
We do believe in a country for everyone, a country that provides for the poor, works for working families, makes sense for the middle class, stands up for senior citizens, innovates in the inner city, strengthens suburban communities, helps out the heartland, and revitalizes rural America. We believe in a country with liberty and justice for all, equal protection under the law, free and fair elections, and yes, we believe in a country with the peaceful transfer of power. We believe that in America, our diversity is a strength. It is not a weakness. An economic strength, a competitive strength, a cultural strength. Our diversity is a strength. It is not a weakness. We are a gorgeous mosaic of people from throughout the world. As John Lewis would sometimes remind us on this floor, we may have come over on different ships, but we're all in the same boat now. We are white, we are black, we are Latino, we are Asian, we are Native American, we are Christian, we are Jewish, we are Muslim, we are Hindu, we are religious, we are secular, we are gay, we are straight, we are young, we are older, we are women, we are men, we are citizens, we are dreamers. Out of many, we are one. That's what makes America a great country. And no matter what kind of haters are trying to divide us, we're not going to let anyone take that away from us. Not now, not ever. This is the United States of America, a land of opportunity. The fact that I'm able to stand up here today is another data point in that narrative. I was born in Brooklyn Hospital, raised in a working class neighborhood in Crown Heights, grew up in the Cornerstone Baptist Church, started off in the Cradle Roll department, somehow survived the violence of the crack cocaine epidemic, and wound up here in the United States Congress as the highest ranking Democrat in the House of Representatives. America, truly a land of opportunity. Government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So on this first day, let us commit to the American dream, a dream that promises that if you work hard and play by the rules, you should be able to provide a comfortable living for yourself and for your family, educate your children, purchase a home, and one day retire with grace and dignity. Let us commit on this first day to lift up the American dream for every single person in this nation. Now, I recognize that this is a moment of transition. as we transition from one Congress to the next, from one majority to the next, from a year of accomplishment to a year of ambiguity, a moment of transition. The American people, understandably, after the events of this week, recognize that the Congress is at a fork in the road and are asking the question, what direction will we choose? On this first day, I do not pretend to answer that question on behalf of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, but we do extend our hand of partnership to you and want to make clear that we extend and intend to try to find common ground whenever and wherever possible on behalf of the American people. Not as Democrats, not as Republicans, not as independents, but as Americans. But I also want to make clear that we will never compromise our principles. House Democrats will always put American values over autocracy, benevolence over bigotry, the Constitution over the cult, democracy over demagogues, economic opportunity over extremism, freedom over fascism, governing over gaslighting, hopefulness over hatred, inclusion over isolation, justice over judicial overreach, knowledge over kangaroo courts, liberty over limitation, maturity over Mar-a-Lago, normalcy over negativity, opportunity over obstruction, people over politics, quality of life issues over QAnon, reason over racism, substance over slander, triumph over tyranny, understanding over ugliness, voting rights over voter suppression, working families over the well-connected, xenial over xenophobia, yes we can over you can't do it, and zealous representation over zero-sum confrontation. We will always do the right thing by the American people. So let us not grow weary of doing good, for the American people will reap the benefit of the harvest if we do not give up. God bless you, God bless the House, and God bless the United States of America.
Julianne, I love that Kevin McCarthy had to stand there and listen and watch the whole time. The Republicans were pretty pissed.
They might have been pissed, but they got taken to school. And that's the bottom line. I think Hakeem Jeffries is time enough for them. It's going to be very interesting, though, Roland, as you talk to Obakongo and before that, the congressman from Louisiana about what's going on. This was a circus. I hope everybody brought their popcorn. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing, Roland, for me is really being concerned about entitlements and Social Security. More than 50% of Black women who are over 65 years old, me too, basically depend on Social Security as their sole source of pension money. More than half. So when this boy goes around talking about he's going to cut entitlements, I'm counting on Hakeem Jeffries with his poetic pushback to say, oh, hell no, because that's what's going to happen. They have been plotting on this for a very long time. And I know that anything they do has to go to the Senate, go to the president. But the attack on entitlements is really what that 45th president, the orange orangutan, and his friends, they're holding up their phone talking about, please come talk to him. This is toxic, and it really is an attack not only on all Americans, but especially on Black Americans.
Renita?
Yeah, you know, Hakeem Jeffries started out his tenure by saying that this was a new day in the House, a new day for Democrats, which we frequently hear Democrats say. And, you know, typically then we sort of get the same results. And I'm always in the camp of what Democrats can be doing, what they need to be doing more of, because I've seen the inside and I see where we fight and when we don't fight. But what people really need to understand is Hakeem Jeffries is putting his money where his mouth is. People do not understand how hard it was what he just accomplished. So let me break it down for you. Typically, Democrats—
About 30 seconds. If I go to the break, go.
In the minority, they will put up a Democrat for speaker, but then not all Democrats typically vote for that Democrat that they put up. Yes, you have Democrats who will vote for the Republican for speaker. It has been more than a decade since all Democrats hung together and actually voted for the minority leader, their Democrat that they put up. So he has to be commended, and I do believe him when he says it's a new day.
It is, and so again, I love to see the feistiness and, of course, walking it through A to Z. You ought to see some of the memes where they actually put Nas's Ether to that music to what Hakeem did there. So pretty cool. All right, y'all, going to a break. We come back. We're going to talk about the last jobs report. First of all, the first jobs report of the year, or the last month of the year, and lay out what took place in 2022. That's next on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Don't forget, folks, support us in what we do. Download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Get a copy of my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. Available at all bookstores. Download it on Audible. And, of course, if you're watching on YouTube or the Black Star Network, hit the like button, hit the share button on Facebook. Other folks know what we're doing. We'll be back in a moment.
On the next A Balanced Life with me, Dr. Jackie, it's time to tie up those loose ends. Setting yourself up for balance, success, and even prosperity in the new year. Financial expert Pamela Sams joins our panel. She will give us a checklist of things that we need to do before the calendar turns.
We develop our money mindset by the age of 6. And so we have our sometimes 6-year-old self still operating in the background of our money scripts.
That's next on A Balanced Life on Black Star Network.
We're all impacted by the culture, whether we know it or not. From politics to music and entertainment, it's a huge part of our lives, and we're going to talk about it every day right here on The Culture with me, Faraji Muhammad, only on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
Hi, I'm BB Winans.
Hey, I'm Donnie Simpson.
What's up? I'm Lance Gross, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, 2022 showed a strong economy, 4.5 million jobs added last year, unemployment at a 50-year low. Remember, all Republicans were talking about how things were just so awful and how bad they were. Well, the reality is that wasn't the case. They yelled and complained about inflation, but we also understood what was the case dealing with inflation as a result of the supply chain and also what would happen coming out of COVID. And then, of course, you had companies who were also jacking up prices, trying to recoup trying to recoup resources. Also, what we saw was the average hourly wage rose 9 cents to $32.82. Also, the Federal Reserve, they expect employers to begin pulling back on pay increases to help inflation as well. Now, hiring did slow in December, but that jobs report was still stronger than what many people expected. Maurice Jones is the CEO of 110. He joins us right now. Maurice, glad to have you here. First of all, what is 110?
110 is a coalition of companies and talent development organizations held together by the aspiration to hire and promote 1 million Black talent who don't yet have 4-year degrees into family-sustaining jobs and careers over the next 10 years.
So your thoughts about, when you look at this jobs report, you look at what it revealed for 2022. Again, it was this steady drumbeat of, oh my God, the economy is awful, 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 which made no sense when you saw jobs are being added nearly every single month. Wages increased. It was like the tale of two narratives, which made no sense to me all of last year.
Yeah, no, when you look at the jobs report, the labor market is still strong, right? December added over 200,000, I think over 220,000 jobs. Unemployment ticked down 3 to 3.5%, all the things that you mentioned. Now, the other side of the coin, for me, in particular with the 110 journey, is looking at the Black unemployment rate. Now, the Black unemployment rate held pretty steady at 5.7%. And most particularly, there are 10.5 million available jobs, right? To me, that was the big message. There's still work to be done getting people in jobs. There are 11 million and underemployed Black folk. There are 10.5 million available jobs. There's a match to be made here. And that's what 110 was designed to address.
So when you say there's a match to be made, what are those jobs?
So look, the jobs are in multiple categories, but here's the challenge, right? We looked at all jobs that pay $60,000 and above in our country today. On paper, 79% of those jobs require that you have to have a 4-year degree just to compete for the job. That number, by the way, is about 71% of all jobs that pay $40,000 or more. And then when you look at the workforce, you look at all Black talent ages 25 or more in the workforce today, 76% of us do not yet have a 4-year degree. The point that we're trying to make at 110 is we need to be using a skills-first approach to hiring and to promoting. Hire people on the basis of the skills, no matter where they get those skills from. Promote them on the basis of the skills that they have acquired, no matter where the skills are coming from. That will open up new talent to those employers, and it will give more folk more opportunities to work and earn a living.
So as you look at 2023, it's amazing because you've got companies doing layoffs. They're talking about, oh, we're going to have this recession. But there are other CEOs who are saying, I'm not seeing the recession. When you see the jobs report comes out, it's like, again, it's sort of like these two different narratives. One seems to be this fear-based narrative of, oh, no, the economy is going to hell. Other people say it's going to be if there is a recession, a very soft one, a sort of a technical one, and that by the summer, you know what, we're back full throttle. Your thoughts?
Look, 10.5 million unfilled jobs. Companies still need employees. So what I see is an incredible opportunity for companies to use a skills-first approach and to tap into talent that they're now leaving on the sideline. So I'm pretty optimistic that 2023 offers a great chance to get folks working and to enable companies to reach into talent pools that they're not tapping right now.
All right, so there's somebody who's watching right now, there's somebody who's listening, and they say, okay, I hear you about these 10.5 million jobs. So what skills should folks be focused on trying to develop now to qualify for one of those jobs?
Yeah, so it ranges, right? So if you look at what's growing, you see that healthcare is growing. You see that Leisure and hospitality are beginning to come back. They're not at pre-pandemic levels, but they're coming back now. Construction and manufacturing are growing. So what people need to concentrate on are the kinds of skills that you're seeing these folks need. They need coders. They need people who know mech and understand mechatronics. They need nurses galore. We need folks in HR and finance jobs. Most especially, right? We need employees who can work in teams, who can help to solve problems, who can communicate, and frankly, who are aggressive about marketing the skills and the grit and the desire to work hard that they have. That's what our talent need to be working on.
All right, Maurice Jones, certainly appreciate it. CEO of 110, thanks a lot.
Nice to be with you, Roland.
This is a area here in Congo where government can help. You just saw what happened with the Biden administration when they passed billions of dollars to help build, semiconductor chips, computer chips, which has spurred these companies to announce manufacturing increases. Well, here's the deal: if there are 10.5 million jobs available, what we should be doing is providing the training to people to fill those jobs.
Absolutely. And this is also tying back to our last segment. This is also something that can really help the Democrats, because when the CHIPS bill was passed and everything, people talked about, oh, well, this stuff is later on down the line, so it may not help the Democrats right now in the midterms. And we see that it did. We also see that Mitch McConnell and other people in the Republican Party are latching themselves on to what Biden did as well. And so if Biden and the Democrats can continue to push this agenda as it relates to jobs, it can really help them going into 2024. And going back to the first part of what you just brought up in this segment, if we don't focus right now on getting back into our communities and getting the training that we need, we are going to miss this wave. Because as he said, black unemployment has been steady, but as the case is always higher than the average. And so really at the end of the day, we have to really get back into our training. We have to really get back into looking into ways that we can get into schools and other types of vocational training, because there are so many opportunities. And the last thing that I'm concerned that wasn't really spoken about, I'm also concerned about underemployment. I'm concerned about people getting into these jobs and not really having the benefits that they need, because some of these employers just want to fill numbers and say that they're meeting a particular quota. That is one of my concerns. But like you said, Roland, we have to make sure that we're getting out into our community right now and working with the Biden administration on providing a workable talent that can fill these positions.
Look, Julian, when we talk about this economy, again, it's amazing when you hear all of this chatter. Amazon adding 7,000 people, they're laying off, other companies laying off, Goldman Sachs as well. But I see other CEOs who say they don't see a recession coming. What the hell is going on? You're an economist.
What the hell is going on? What's going on is that there is a mixed bag. On one hand, you have about 60% of economists saying we think there's going to be a recession. On the other hand, you have folks, very strong jobs report last month, 3.5% unemployment is the lowest rate we've seen in 50 years. So some folks saying recession, other folks saying strong jobs thing. From an economist perspective, the big thing is inflation. And as long as inflation continues to go up, 7% last month, while wage growth only went up by 4.6%. So basically average people are 2% behind what they were a year ago. So a lot of people are grappling with that. But the other piece of it, I think—
About 30 seconds.
1010 is raising important questions. At the same time, we have to look at important answers. Our people are being sidelined. I don't want to hear the nonsense about we don't have a recession. Whether we do or not, inflation is sidelining Black people.
Well, 30 seconds? I got 10 seconds left. So got to go to a break, folks. Again, we're going to continue talking about this and what is happening because, again, what we're dealing with, how can the role that government can play to impact when it comes to these jobs. And so we'll break it down. That and other news when we come back on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Folks, support us in what we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. Your dollars make it possible for us to do what we do. We're going to be in Houston on Thursday. I'm going to be in Wichita, Kansas on Monday for MLK Day. We're going to be in Los Angeles next month for the NAACP Image Awards, broadcasting all that week. And so, again, your dollars make it possible for what we do while we're fighting the advertising battles as well. Send your check and money orders to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
I love directing. It's a different kind of piece. I do believe that the 30 years I was acting was to prepare me for what I'm supposed to be doing and that what I really am good at.
But when you were acting, were you even thinking about directing?
Nope.
Were you? So what the hell happened?
If you had asked me 15 years ago, I probably would have said, no, I don't know. I was doing Ava DuVernay's first film, I Will Follow. Mm-hmm. And during that process, I think because it was her first film, maybe
She's self-taught.
Absolutely. I probably gave too many suggestions. And at some point, Ava said to me, I think you're a director and you don't know it.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. The Supreme Court is back in session. God help us all. It is no exaggeration to say that this current session could completely reshape this country and redirect our future for generations to come. And not in a good way. We invite Dr. Valeethia Watkins and Professor Angela Porter, our legal roundtable, back to the show to put it all in perspective. That's on the next Black Table. Please don't miss it. Right here on the Black Star Network.
We're all impacted by the culture, whether we know it or not. From politics to music and entertainment, it's a huge part of our lives, and we're going to talk about it every day right here on The Culture with me, Faraji Muhammad, only on the Black Star Network.
Hey, I'm Antonique Smith.
Hey, I'm Arnez J.
Hi, this is Cheryl Lee Ralph, and you are watching Roland Martin, Unfiltered. I mean, could it be any other way? Really? It's Roland Martin.
All right, folks, welcome back. Renita, you're a state representative there in Georgia. The thing here that people really don't understand, state legislatures, county commissioners' courts, city councils, the federal government, they spend a lot of money trying to attract corporations, offering tax incentives, offering tax breaks, research and development. But it's always amazing to me that when it then comes to the worker, then folk get all jittery and skittish, and yet you have these individuals, especially the Republicans, who are complaining about the unemployment benefits people are getting, and they keep saying, well, all these jobs are available, people aren't applying. Well, there are reasons for it, and so the Fed is trying to push down wages. Well, I thought wages were a good thing, and so this is the dichotomy in our society. We're talking about jobs and income. Politically, they're basically on the side of the corporations and not the people. Yet when they run for office, it's the working class, it's the worker, blah, 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 blah. That ain't reality when it comes to policymaking.
Well, you hit the nail on the head, and that's why I was blown away by what Maurice said, because he said they are focusing on jobs that will allow you to afford to take care of a family. That is the most important thing that he said, because too often job reports are always touted about, well, this is a good jobs report, or we've got 10 million jobs open. That doesn't matter if these are not jobs that can allow people to make a livable wage. You are always going to have some jobs open, as you mentioned, because the elected officials consistently give tax breaks to corporations to come into a state like Georgia, for example, and then they pay poverty wages, and people don't want those jobs. Nobody is going to people, and it's not even really about what people want, but you have to think about it. People are not able to take a job that requires them to work 40 hours a week, and that one job is not enough to pay all of their bills. So everything that Maurice is doing is hitting the nail on the head, and somebody from the Biden administration needs to reach out to them and see what they can do to assist him and follow what he's doing, because what he's doing is what is most important to everyone, and that is helping to match them with a job that actually pays livable wages.
And here's the thing when we start breaking these things down, Omekongo, and a lot of people, I think, have a false sense of what people out here make. In fact, that was a guy, let me see if I can find it. He pretty much, let me just go ahead and say, he's pretty much an asshole. He's one of these hedge fund dudes or something like that. And he put a video out the other day where he was like, where he said that a man should be embarrassed if he, matter of fact, I finally found the video here. Watch this, y'all. If you want to understand, again, the stupidity by which some people operate with in this country. His name is Grant Cardone. Listen to what this idiot said.
If I made $400 grand a year, I would be embarrassed with myself as a husband, a father, basically as a human being. $400 grand. How do you make sense of $35,000 a month? You guys haven't done the math. You have not done the math, because you cannot live on $400 grand a year. If I made $400 grand a year, I would be embarrassed.
Yeah, no, you're right. This fool actually said that. Now the reason this shows you the level of stupidity we're talking about here, Omekongo, and people see that stuff and they go, oh my goodness, this is the reality in America. Folks, in 2021, the median household income in America was $70,784. It was $71,186 in 2020. So there was a drop of about $500. That's 70,000. And Omekongo, the reason that video about that idiot Grant is just so stupid is that there are other people who run around here and they go, oh my goodness, I don't know how. Now that's the median household income. That means 2 people, 2 adults in the household. It means a kid may be working. That's what that means. So when this fool goes, I don't know how you can live off of $35,000 a month, the average American is living off of that times 2 for the year.
And it just shows how out of touch so many of these people are. We talk about that when you were talking about the CEOs and the politicians, you know, the CEOs, they don't work for the people, they work for their shareholders. These politicians only care about getting money from the CEOs. They don't care about the people who are on the bottom. And on top of that, you're talking about the median income, which has dropped. But as Dr. Malveaux said, look at inflation. Look at everything costing more. Look at people not getting cost of living increases and really at the end of the day, this is a society that still does not care about the poor. It doesn't care about the working poor. It doesn't care about the middle class. It doesn't care. It's doing everything possible to push us even further down. So this man out here talking foolishly about being ashamed, let's be real. We should be ashamed as a country that we're putting ourselves in situations where our soldiers are coming back and they're dealing with food insecurity, where people in our communities are dealing with homelessness, where our schools are not getting the funding needed to be able to put kids in positions to be able to get out here and get these jobs. This is America's great shame. And that man out there, I don't know where he's coming from, but he's not seeing what people are seeing every single day who live in the real world. And that is the real shame of the United States of America, which is the greatest country on earth, but it's not doing the greatest for the most people right now.
The thing, the reason why I wanted to play that clip there, Julian, is because Whenever you see the debates in Congress and all of a sudden they're deciding, where to cut things off and the cap, you have a lot of these people who live, especially in New York and New Jersey and other places. They're like, well, my goodness, what do you mean that if a family makes more than $250,000, they can't qualify for financial aid or for Pell Grants? I mean, my goodness, we have other bills as well. Okay, the reason that is just so, I showed you the numbers there, while that's ridiculous, because the average folks don't. The reality is, in America, we're talking about no more than 2% of Americans make $125,000 or more. I mean, we're not talking about, the number is so small. 98% of the people in this country, they ain't making six figures. But when you hear these policymakers, when we're talking about job training and development, they act like folks are just, out here splurging and blowing money, when that's not the case.
Well, there's the dissonance here. First of all, these people who make public policy do not live lives. So they make public policy. They don't know how people live. So when we're talking about inflation as an example, you, I, and probably everyone on this panel will have a little bit of pain with inflation. But if you're below $60,000 and the cost of chicken wings goes up by 50%, and that's what you feed your kids, this is going to be a problem. But there's a cognizant dissonance between the way that policymakers live and the way that people live. And that's what we're grappling with now. Beyond that, we are dealing with a situation, Roland, don't get me started, you and me, don't get me started, but it's a repugnant to look at the economic challenge that we're facing. You got these Republicans, as I said earlier, 65% of Americans who are over 65 only rely on their Social Security check to live.
And again, let me just, about 6.5% of U.S. households make over $200,000. That's it. So that means combined, just 6.6%. So 93.5% of U.S. households are under $200,000 combined. That's just reality.
And yet, because of the way that social media pumps up this living your life like this golden lifestyle, people who don't have no money aspire to have money. That's not a problem. The problem is that it's not there. And right this minute, again, I've got to go back to Social Security, but it's not just Social Security, Roland. You know what's going on. And I got to commend you because you're lifting up what's going on. But it is repugnant. The only word I can use is repugnant to look at the ways that this economy is attacking regular people.
Yep, that is the case, and so it is just so unfortunate. But again, that's what we're dealing with. So hopefully, we'll actually see when you have these leaders talking about, these jobs available, they'll actually do something about it and provide assistance to workers, and not just companies. All right, got to go to break. We come back. We're going to talk about the special grand jury in Georgia investigating Donald Trump and his imps and the role they play in the 2020 election. That's up next right here in Roland Martin Unfiltered, the Black Star Network. You too, folks, y'all sitting there commenting, hit that like button. We should easily be at 1,500 likes, and so easily over 1,000. So you're commenting, hit the button as well, all right? If you're on Facebook, hit the share button, either the Black Star Network app. Give us a comment, like and share as well. We'll be right back.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol,
we're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
voices, the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, the number of people working from home has quadrupled to almost 30%. You're going to learn how you can now create your money space. It can impact your mood, your mindset, and your ability to get wealthy. Interior designer Nikki Klug joins us to share exactly what you need to do to create a winning workspace.
Make a space that is going to instantly put you in the mindset so that you can be more productive, so that you're organized, so that you're inspired, or you're really focusing in on the task at hand.
That's right here on Get Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Eric Nolan.
I'm Shantae Moore.
Hi, my name is LaToya Luckett, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, the Georgia Special Grand Jury, they've completed their investigation into Donald Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election. The Atlanta area Special Grand Jury, they're going to issue a final report that serves as a mechanism for the Special Grand Jury to recommend to Fulton County DA Attorney Fannie Willis to pursue an indictment of election interference. If she decides to pursue the indictment, she can have a regular grand jury impaneled. She's also been investigating Donald Trump and his associates for 2 years, looking into claims of election fraud and electoral scheme, efforts by unauthorized individuals to access voting machines, and threats and harassment against election workers. Judge Robert McBurney, who's been overseeing the Fulton County Special Grand Jury investigation, has scheduled a hearing for January 24th for the Fulton County DA's office and others to argue whether the special grand jury's report should be made public. This right here, Renita, is a very big deal because the reality is Donald Trump and all of his folks have not been held accountable for what took place, their involvement when it came to the 2020 election. And so this may be one of the best chances for that to actually happen.
Absolutely. And this investigation will have far-reaching consequences, we hope, that justice is served, because it's not just about Donald Trump. As you mentioned, there are so many different layers to this that do directly affect Georgia. For example, the person who will be installed later this week for the next lieutenant governor of Georgia is Burt Jones. He was actually a fake elector. He is one of those people who pretended to be a legitimate elector in order to change the results of the election and reinstall and install the former president. So there are a lot of things tied to this investigation, and we are all hoping that justice will be served, because what we have seen and what we know is that it is really difficult to hold white men accountable in this country. And I don't know anybody who isn't sick of that being the case.
You know, we've watched this thing play out, and it is as if, Omakongo, that no one wants to step up and hold Donald Trump accountable. And then one of the things that we keep hearing is, and we see the threats, if they do this, how his supporters are going to respond. Mm-hmm. Last I checked, above the U.S. Supreme Court, it says equal justice under law. Now, no one that shouldn't even be a conversation about, someone being scared of what may happen. If he or others broke the law, they must be held accountable, just like you or I would be.
Period, bottom line. I mean, and people are talking about this past Friday was 2-year commemoration, so people calling it an anniversary. It's not an anniversary, commemoration of the insurrection. But my response to that was the insurrection is still ongoing. Look at the people who are in the House right now, the Matt Gaetzes and the Marjorie Taylor Greens, and how they have more power, and they haven't been held accountable. And Donald Trump hasn't been held accountable. We're seeing spillover effects in places like Brazil, for goodness sakes. So really, at the end of the day, and we talk about Merrick Garland, he had a rock-solid case, and then he turned it over to Jack Smith and the special counsel. But at the end of the day, even with Smith's findings, he still has to come back to Garland and Garland has to sign off on whatever happens. So these people are delaying, and I don't really know what's going to happen. But I am very proud of what Fannie Willis has been doing, of what Letitia James has been doing, what the council led by Benny Thompson, the committee led by Benny Thompson. And it seems like our black representatives and elected officials are more interested in holding Trump accountable than some of these other people. And really, at the end of the day, if that's what we got, that's what we got, because this cannot continue. This cannot go on the way it has been going on, because as we move towards 2024, it is only going to get worse, because there are people, Representative Shannon just talked about, one of the people was a fake elector, and now they're in charge. So they're getting stronger and stronger, and if Trump is not held accountable, they are making room for him to return in 2024, enemies list and all.
There has to be accountability, Julian. And here's my whole deal. All right. So you're going to have a hearing. It should be made public. Mm-hmm. It should be. It's in the public's interest to find out what this special grand jury discovered.
The whole thing, Roland, is troubling because what you're seeing is amazing caucasity across party lines. In other words, there's too much protection for the 45th president. They don't want, everybody's like, oh, well, what happens if we indict a president? Well, that's what happens. The EMF goes to jail. I mean, it ain't that deep. But
well, first of all, if it gets indicted, it goes to trial. And then found guilty, he goes to jail. But yeah, I don't care if he's a former president. If you break the law, I mean, look, Spiro Agnew broke the law. He was the vice president of the United States, was forced to resign. And?
But the point is this. They are covering up for this man. Even Democrats who have somewhat good sense are concerned about the precedent. Well, the precedent is that we've never had a president who stole, lied, cheated, and up to impeachment twice. Get your hind parts out the story. And too many people covering up for him. That's all I have to say. Too many people are covering up. And beyond that, Roland, the frightening thing is that what this means to our young people. I got to get back to that as an educator. What are we telling our young people about cheating, lying, stealing? We're telling them if that Maryland farmer, y'all know what I mean, Maryland farmer gets away with this, is telling young people you can cheat, lie, and steal. So I am flabbergasted about all of this and annoyed that the mainstream media, unlike you, Roland Martin, the mainstream media is making this like, oh, well, it's just whatever. I mean, they're more agitated, but they agitated enough. Turn this Maryland farmer out. Get him out of any kind of influence. I was repulsed when Marjorie Taylor Greene is holding her phone up saying, I've got DT on the phone. Come on now. This is what we're dealing with, and we're going 2 years into 2024 or a year and a half, and we've got to make sure that people with sense repulse this thing. That's where I am. And if excuse me, I'm a little agitated, but I'm just disturbed about the way that caucasity has allowed this man to do what he does, and that these 15 ballots, okay, dude, you want to be the speaker more than a hungry man wants a hamburger.
Well,
okay.
Renee, what it also, why you have to see it through, because if you don't, what you're basically saying to any future politician, do the exact same thing, and that'll be enough cover for you not to be held accountable.
Well, correction, do the same thing and also be a white man. That's the important part, because we know that if this had been if President Obama would have tried this would not have even been a thing. It would not take this long to get justice. this would not have even happened because we all know what would have actually happened had he tried it. So, I mean, I do think that it's just very important for, all of us to get justice out of this situation. And to Julianne's point, it's crazy because the mainstream media is not talking about Merrick Garland's dereliction of duty. They are not talking about how swiftly justice could be served. And so, as Dr. Malveaux pointed out, it's really elected officials on both sides of the aisle who are covering for this person and who are moving very slowly towards justice. And like I said, I think the root of all of this is there is just still such a resistance in this country to actually hold white men accountable. That is what is at the bottom of this. So.
Well, you're absolutely right, and it's unfortunate what we continue to see. On Congo, just a few moments ago, Republicans did push through their rules package. Give me 1 second. Let me pull this up here. The link here. And so Kevin McCarthy was able to secure the particular votes. It passed 220 to 213, again, by 2 votes. Texas Republican Tony Gonzalez stood by his point. He voted with Democrats in voting against the measure. And so, again, now here's the deal. You did have some folks like South Carolina's Representative Nancy Mace who was unsure. But now what you have is now you have what's going on again. Look, they're going to try to move to repeal rolling back the $80 billion in funding to the IRS. But as we already know, it don't matter because it ain't going to get through the Senate.
And that's what when Hakeem Jeffries talked about kangaroo courts, that's what Congress is going to be. They're going to put forth, or the House is going to be, they're going to put forth so much that's just not going to go anywhere. They're going to be a do-nothing House, and they're going to spend a lot of our money, Roland. It's our money, our taxpayer dollars, on these false investigations, working to impeach Biden. Some story came out today about some files that the vice president had that the archives needed, and that's going to blow up, and they're going to use that to try to impeach him. They are fully content on wasting our resources, and to be quite honest, I think it'll be probably about a week or two before one of them decides that they want to try to have a vote to get McCarthy out. They are twiddling their fingers and raising money off of their ignorance, and really at the end of the day, they got this rules package going through, but every bill that he tries to get through, every package he tries to get through is going to be a fight. And I just really hope at the end of the day, we are fully paying attention. And he is not some great politician and leader. He got this position because of redistricting. And really at the end of the day, he's not going to go anywhere in 2024 if we do our work.
Hold tight 1 second. Got to come back. We'll have Black and Missing, and also we'll talk about Joe Biden and issue with Southern judges. Democrats get more aggressive on this thing. I'll explain on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
We're all impacted by the culture, whether we know it or not. From politics to music and entertainment, it's a huge part of our lives, and we're going to talk about it every day right here on The Culture with me, Faraji Muhammad, only on the Black Star Network.
On the next A Balanced Life with me, Dr. Jackie, it's time to tie up those loose ends, setting yourself up for balance, success, and even prosperity in the new year. Financial expert Pamela Sams joins our panel. She will give us a checklist of things that we need to do before the calendar turns.
We develop our money mindset by the age of 6. And so we have our sometimes 6-year-old self still operating in the background of our money scripts.
That's next on A Balanced Life on Black Star Network.
It's Kim Whitley.
Yo, what's up? This your boy Ice Cube.
Hey, yo, Peace World. What's going on? It's the Love King of R&B, Raheem Devon, and you're watching Roland Martin, Unfiltered.
All right, folks. Today's Black and Missing. Navia Stanford went missing from her Madison, Wisconsin home on December 8th. The 16-year-old is 5 feet 4 inches tall, weighs 145 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. Anyone with information about Navia Stanford should call the Madison, Wisconsin Police Department at 608-255-2345, 608-255-2345. Folks, Buffalo Bills cornerback Demar Hamlin has been released from a hospital in Cincinnati and flown back home to Buffalo. He was released today from the UC Medical Center in Cincinnati. This took place a week after he suffered cardiac arrest on the field on Monday Night Football against the Cincinnati Bengals. Dr. William A. Knight shared the news with reporters during a video news conference.
Our ultimate goal was to get Demar back home to his amazing family and the broader Buffalo family. Well, Dr. Pritz and I are thrilled and proud on behalf of UC to report to you that Demar Hamlin has been released and returned to Buffalo. I traveled with him to the airport this morning with our UC Health Air Care and Mobile Care crew, including teammates who were with us on the field when Demar Hamlin collapsed. He landed safely and is as standard as anybody who has gone through what he's gone through this past week. And certainly after flying on a plane, he is going to be observed and monitored to ensure that there's no impact on the flight of his condition or on his lungs. Dr. Pritz and I have spoken extensively with his care team in Buffalo, and I can confirm that he is doing well, and this is the beginning of the next stage of his recovery.
All right, Demar sent a couple of tweets out, folks, and here they are. Headed home to Buffalo today with a lot of love on my heart. Watching the world come together around me on Sunday was truly an amazing feeling. The same love you all have shown me is the same love that I plan to put back into the world, and more, bigger than football. Also grateful for the awesome care I received at UCMC. Happy to be back in Buffalo. The docs and nurses at Buffalo General have already made me feel at home. As doctors say, it's still too early to know what caused Hamlin's cardiac arrest, and expect he will undergo more tests to determine exactly what happened. That certainly is good news. All right, folks, let's talk a little politics here. President Joe Biden's administration have appointed federal judges unprecedented numbers, except, though, in the South. President Biden and Senate Democrats have outpaced former President Donald Trump and Barack Obama in judicial appointments and diversification of the courts, nominating more women and people of color, as well as former public defenders. They've struggled to appoint in Republican Southern state district courts like Alabama, Florida, Louisiana, and Texas. When asked about the lack of Southern appointments, Paige Herwick, senior counsel to the president, made this statement. All of these seats are deeply important to us. We care about all of these vacancies. It's no secret that many vacancies are in states with 2 Republican senators, but we are always here in good faith. We are here to work with home state senators. Overall, in 2 years, Biden won confirmation for 97 U.S. district courts, appellate bench, and Supreme Court appointments. All right, so here's the issue, Renita, I have here. All right, you have the numbers, you have the power. This is what happens when you're playing by these Senate rules. Now, I remember under Trump in Wisconsin, you have a Republican Senator Ron Johnson, you have a Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin, and they have a thing called the blue slip, okay, which is where a senator could put a hold on a judicial nominee. And so that was a case where they did that. Mitch McConnell ignored the blue slips of Baldwin and Johnson, a Republican, and push through that particular federal judge. And so here you have Senator Dick Durbin, who is the chair of the Judiciary Committee. This is where they want to be in agreement with Republicans. We have 2 Republican senators. Damn that. You're the president. Democrats control the Senate. This is where you say, listen up. We're going to give you guys 3 more damn months to sit here and approve a name. If not, we're going to move forward and put these judges on the bench. Damn being so nice. It's been 2 years. It's been 2 years. And if these Republican senators want to play this game, forget that. Now, Democrats are like, well, what then happens when we don't have control? Well, guess what? They've got 6-3 majority on the Supreme Court. You use your power.
Yeah, so I do understand part of the reason why they're having a tough time with this, because the process works like this. There are nominations where basically folks within the state, and I know this because we just went through this in Georgia within the last 2 years, folks within the state can put up who they think should be nominated for a federal judgeship, and then the 2 senators have to agree, which is what you mentioned about the blue slip. So if you're looking in a state that has 2 Republican senators, anybody they put up is not going to be anybody that Democrats want to vote on in the Senate. They're probably having a very hard time getting nominees. But as you mentioned, Democrats need to be less concerned with process and more concerned with getting results, because people expect results. And if it were the Republicans, as you mentioned in prior history, they would not care about breaking a process in order to get results. So I suspect that what is holding them up is the process of actually getting folks from a state that has 2 Republican senators, getting someone that Democrats actually want to see in office versus somebody that Republicans would love.
Well, what is happening also in a lot of places, of course, DeMario Solomon Simmons has been angry about this because he's there in Oklahoma, Julian, is that Republicans, their whole deal is, hey, if we don't sign off on them, don't move forward. No, you're not going to keep holding this up. If you're Democrats, you fill every single vacancy in every single state. I don't care if it's U.S. attorney. I don't care if it's a judge. What you do not do is continue playing games with them, and you let them know, I'm going to give you 90 more days. I'm going to give you 6 more months. But we're moving on these appointments.
Roland, Renita is so right about the way that this has been played. Democrats play checkers, Republicans play chess. We need to push these appointments and block the dumb stuff. I'm trying to keep it clean. You know, I do have to say other stuff, but block the dumb stuff. It is ridiculous that this president cannot make the appointments that he wants to make that reflect his values. But the problem is that too many Democrats, frankly, play Mr. Bojangles, oh, it's his right, oh, it's a possibility. You know, we have to come hard about this stuff, because what we know is that the previous president has seated so many young, ignorant, people on the judiciary. Brother Biden he doesn't have young and ignorant. What he has is qualified people. We have to fight back, Roland. We have to fight back. We aren't fighting back, and that's the problem.
Look, I'm a Congo. I don't want to hear it. My whole deal is you get it done. And you make it. If you're Dick Durbin, you stop sitting here with a collegiality of the Senate or in our rules, and you say, if y'all keep holding it up, we're going to move forward. So you better decide on one of the judges that we picked, or it's going to happen. But you don't just sit here and just let them keep controlling the process.
You're absolutely right, and I'm so glad you brought up the blue slip with Mitch McConnell. When Biden was in Kentucky with McConnell last week, or one of the things when he talked about, he said, I know that Mitch McConnell is an honest man, and when he gives these words, he's going to keep it. No, he's not. He's not honest. He lies all of the time, and this judicial process was part of is the greatest example of that. We fought so hard to get this 51 majority in the Senate, and for Democrats, look, as far as I'm concerned, of what's happening in the House and what's happening with the Senate right now in terms of the 51 majority, that 2024 is Democrats' elections to lose. it is theirs to lose. And we, like you said, 3 months, 6 months, we are watching. And if they're not going to use the power that we gave them, all the months and time you spent down in Georgia, all of the work that the groups and the local organizations were doing in Georgia and in other states, if they're not going to use that, then they are going to lose the Senate as well. So they better start getting serious about these strides, because our loyalty is not, do not take it for granted.
Well, in fact, in 2024, Democrats will be defending 23 U.S. Senate seats, Republicans only 10. And part of their problem is they hold some red state seats right now. It's going to be very difficult for 3 of them. And then, of course, you have Debbie Stabenow, who just announced that she's retiring. So Democrats are going to be running somebody for her state, for her U.S. Senate seat. Again, when you have the power, you use the power, because there's no guarantee you will have the power after 2024. Hold tight 1 second, folks. We come back, some more headlines, also some in memoriams. Plus, we'll talk about diet nutrition with our new youth for 2023 with my man Cutie Mac. I don't know if I'm going to let him on the show, though. He got a Kappa shirt on. I don't know what the hell he was thinking. All right, folks, you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
I love directing. It's a different kind of piece. I do believe that the 30 years I was acting was to prepare me for what I'm supposed to be doing, and that what I'm really am good at.
But when you were acting, were you even thinking about directing?
Nope.
Were you? So what the hell happened?
If you had asked me 15 years ago, I probably would have said, no, I don't know. I was doing Ava DuVernay's first film, I Will Follow. Mm-hmm. And during that process, I think because it was her first film, maybe
She's self-taught.
Absolutely. I probably gave too many suggestions. And at some point, Ava said to me, I think you're a director and you don't know it.
Talk about blackness and what happens in black culture. You're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
Hello, everyone. It's Kiara Sheard.
Hey, I'm Taj.
I'm Coco.
And I'm Lily. And we're SWV.
What's up, y'all? It's Ryan Destiny, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, a Phoenix, Arizona family have filed a lawsuit against police alleging they used unreasonable force during an arrest of a man earlier this year. Hakeem Terrell was taken into custody after he refused to leave a New Year's Day party in 2021. He exhibited signs of a mental health crisis when 7 Phoenix police officers put their weight on him lying face down. Terrell told the officers they were killing him as they pressed his legs on his body to change his handcuffs. Terrell's family contends that newly released body camera footage shows officers leaving him face down and on the floor without medical attention for 6 minutes. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump, he is representing the family. Let's go to New York City, where a New York City cop has been suspended after he punched a 14-year-old girl during an after-school fight. This video went viral. Watch this.
He's hitting her? What the fuck?
I want you to replay that video, and I want you to pause it here because you're going to see the black female cop her face is, she's literally like, what the hell are you doing? Roll it again, folks.
He's hitting her?
You literally see right there in the you see where she is looking at this white male cop in horror as to what he is doing. Roll it.
He's hitting her? What the fuck?
And so, folks, and this officer has been suspended without pay. Again, the girl was Kiana Robinson. The officer, let me see here, pull his name up here, is Scalzo. First of all, it was supposed to be breaking up a fight at Edward Markham Middle School between Robinson and a 12-year-old girl when Robinson hit the officer and he started to engage the teen in a brawl. Police Benevolent Association President Patrick Lynch, this is the statement that he put out about the incident. What is clear at this point is that these police officers were trying to break up a violent altercation when they themselves were assaulted. What is needed now is a thorough investigation of the entire circumstances, not just what has been posted online. Well, of course, you know he's always going to defend them. Mayor Eric Adams said he was not pleased in seeing the video. This is the kind of stuff that we always have to deal with on Congo in terms of these reaction cops, of course, and they're protecting cops. But again, in real time, you see the black female cop. She is stunned and aghast at his actions.
2023, right? The more things change, the more things stay the same. And I'm glad that she demonstrated that type of reaction because it represented the reaction of all of us. And we have body cams, we have street cams, we have so many opportunities, cell phone cams, so many opportunities to record these things. And so many of these officers are more emboldened than ever to be able to go twice the girl's size from what it seems here, to be able to go and do that and assault her like that. If she really did, hit him, then fine. That's assault on a police officer. You arrest her. You have the right to do that. But to go back and actively attack, and someone saying in the video, he's actually going at her. This is despicable and disgraceful. And this is, once again, why we need to make sure that every police enforcement action or law or bill that can get passed under this Senate and the Biden administration, it needs to happen because he needs to be fired and he should not have the ability to go and work anywhere else. He should be prosecuted himself. What the head of that union or whatever whose statement you shared didn't say was that, yeah, more investigation is needed, but the officers need to hold themselves to higher standards. That's the part that's always missing when they're so quick to jump to the defense of their fellow officers. And I'm glad as Mayor Adams, as a former officer, said he wasn't pleased, but I'm looking forward to see what he does to take it a step further because this is unacceptable.
Julian?
Not being pleased is like the lowest bar that we have. These things are amazingly, we've been down this path before. And what we have to do is to continue to put a light on it. Roland, I'm just speechless. I watched it before and I watch it again. And I think about young Black women and the ways that our young sisters are being treated. Of course, it's young Black men as well, but we don't often talk about what the impact is on young women. And that's one of the things that has to happen. I appreciate what Congo has said, and I appreciate the context. But let's be clear. We cannot have people beating up Black women just because they can. And that's where we are. That's where we are. It's frightening. It's despicable. We don't need this anymore. That's all. We don't need this anymore.
Renita?
Well, this video, is a prime example of why I always say it is not about the policing, about the training. I know a lot of people want to say that officers need better training, and that is why we're having so many instances of police brutality and police killings. But it's not about the training, because common sense would tell you that you do not need to punch somebody 11 times in the head in order to do your job. I have never been through officer training, and I know that. That is common sense. And I submit to you that had this not been a young Black woman, this officer would not have decided to punch her 11 times in the head. And so, again, most of this is about decision making. It is about character issues. It is about a system that lacks accountability for police officers. And that is why we continue to see the violence happening. It's not about the training.
All right, folks, some in memoriams here. A founding member of the group The Whispers, Gordy Harmon, has passed away. Harmon's family confirmed the singer passed away peacefully in his sleep last Thursday at his L.A. home. It's believed he died of natural causes. Harmon, twin brothers Wallace and Walter Scott, Marcus Hudson, and Nicholas Caldwell founded the acclaimed R&B quintet in 1964. They met one another in Watts, in L.A., where most of the group resided in the Jordan Downs housing project. Their name was derived from their owner of a small record label in Hollywood, who suggested the Whispers as it reflected their soft vocal styling. Gordy Harmon passed away at the age of 79. Last week, legendary drummer Fred White of the Grammy-winning ensemble group Earth, Wind & Fire, he also transitioned to become an ancestor. He played for Donny Hathaway before joining Earth, Wind & Fire with his brother Verdine and Maurice in the mid-1970s. The group is most known for their hits Boogie Wonderland, September, and so many others. They won 6 Grammys, inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2000, and also played the 2005 Super Bowl halftime show. Fred's youngest brother, Verdine, confirmed his death on Instagram, folks, with regards to that. So again, certainly sad news there. And also this weekend, we lost a gospel singer. Folks, you don't have that other memorial, please? I asked for it, okay? Kevin Lemons, a gospel singer out of Atlanta, was in his home and collapsed on Saturday, passed away at the age of 44 years old. Many folks in the gospel community, they expressed shock and sadness at his death. This is the statement that the family put out. It is with great sorrow and a heavy heart that the Lemons family announces the transition from labor to reward of our beloved husband, brother, friend, and choir master, Kevin Lemons. It should be a second page, folks. Go to that, please. Go to the second page of the statement. All right, so, again, Kevin Lemons formed a gospel group there in Atlanta several years ago. He, of course, signed to Hezekiah Walker's record label. Again, Kevin Lemons passed away at the age of 44 years old. And so that is absolutely, sad news there. To be 44. It was at home with his family when he collapsed on Saturday and passed away. And of course, we have yet to get the funeral details. Anita Porter passed away at the age of 74. And so several of our luminaries in the past week passed away. Also, folks, Friday was a one-year anniversary of the death of Sidney Poitier. And this weekend, yesterday, I was at the Kennedy Center. The folks at Apple Plus had a screening of the documentary Sidney, directed by Reggie Hutland, produced by Oprah Winfrey, on Sidney Poitier. Absolutely fascinating documentary. And so enjoyed the Q&A with Sherry as well as Pamela Poitier. And so I'll be uploading soon that video of our conversation. And so, again, it's been a year since we lost the great Sidney Poitier. His 96th birthday would be February 20th, and the family there say they certainly will be doing something to acknowledge that. Folks, coming up next, we'll chat with nutritionist Cootie Mack about how you need to be preparing yourself food-wise, not all about exercise. He says 9% of losing weight and getting healthy is watching what you eat and how you eat. He's next on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the network.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, the number of people working from home has quadrupled to almost 30%. You're going to learn how you can now create your money space. It can impact your mood, your mindset, and your ability to get wealthy. Interior designer Nikki Klug joins us to share exactly what you need to do to create a winning workspace.
Make a space that is going to instantly put you in the mindset so that you can be more productive, so that you're organized, so that you're inspired, or you're really focusing in on the task at hand.
That's right here on Get Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen shooting.
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
What's up, everybody? It's Godfrey, the funniest dude on the planet.
Hi, I'm Israel Houghton. Apparently, the other message I did was not fun enough. So this is fun. You are watching
Roland Martin, my man, Unfiltered.
All right, folks, we continue our Fit, Live, Win segment. We normally do it every Monday, but we've been doing it since I got back on January 3rd, every day, with the whole focus on a new you in 2023. As I said, when I was in Jamaica, I thought about it. Hit me like, you know what, we should do this. Really, just encouraging folks to do different things. Not just focus solely on fitness, but diet and other different ways. So we're going to be talking to tomorrow Cheryl Grant. I'll be focused on who's Miss Olympia, focusing on fitness for women over 50. Also this week, Funk Roberts will be on talking about fitness for men over 50. Rodney Lennon will be on Friday talking about the importance of lifting weights when it comes to losing weight as well. Joining us today is Cootie Mack. Of course, he was one of the folks, last I had him on, I was on my TV One show, and was one of the 7 names that popped up. I was like, you know, we need to get him back on the show. And so glad he is back. Don't come with that Kappa shirt again, just letting you know, okay?
We just said J5.
I don't care. Who?
J5 or Founders
What is
Day.
that?
Founders Day.
Oh, I don't care about that. Okay, and today the Sigma's Founders Day, and so Terry Stark's been sitting there texting me all day. Terry, we don't care. We don't care. All right, so let's get right into it. One of the things that you always talk about is that people spend so much time on the fitness part. Oh, I'm going here, I'm working out, I'm doing this, doing that. When the reality is, it's what they're eating, how they're eating, that impacts whether they lose weight, whether those health numbers, when they go to the doctors, that blood work comes back, whether those numbers improve, is really what they're putting in their body.
Precisely. I mean, you know, I heard you talking about statistics when it came to economics earlier, and people, even I was like, wow, that is true. Only a smidgen of the people in this country make over 6 figures. And it's the same thing when it comes to nutrition. Literally, in the Western world, I read multiple times that 70% of the diseases that we all might have are all a function of what we're eating or not eating. Mm-hmm. So literally, what we're eating is the catalyst for everything. Exercise just accelerates whatever the activities of your digestion and nutrition provide.
So one of the things that, and again, you have people have all kinds of different opinions on this, depending upon whoever your dietitian or your nutrition person is. And then you got some people who say, oh, no, go plant-based. Don't eat chicken. No, don't eat that. No, don't eat turkey. Don't eat this. Don't eat the impossible meat or whatever the heck. It's all kind of different stuff. You know, your outlook on that, because again, there are others who are like, absolutely, no, you got to go completely plant-based, eat no meat whatsoever. Others are like, no, you can actually eat meat. It's just a question of what type of meat, how much you eat it, and when.
Precisely. When I was studying that very same phenomenon, I was like, okay, you hear these people talking about plant-based, vegetarian, vegan, etc. I started studying animals. And I looked at the teeth of animals. And if you look at what sharks eat, what alligators eat, and you look at their teeth, almost all of their teeth, super sharp, and they got a zillion of them. With human beings, we've got 4 teeth that are really designed to rip up meat out of our 32. So if you think about that mathematically, I consciously believe, and I can say with some certainty that 1/8 of the food that we eat can be meat, and the rest should be plant-based. Our bodies are designed to process plants seamlessly. Unless you have specific conditions, by and large, fruits and vegetables will never do you wrong.
Right.
You know, a little bit of meat. Now, for instance, with me, I'm not a vegan, but I eat like one most of the time. And about 3-4 years ago, I went to the doctor, and there was this little number that was out of whack. Something that my doc was like, don't worry about it. But because I am who I am, I was worried about it. And when I asked him to research what fixes that number, it was actually like, you need to eat more red meat.
Really?
Yeah, so but not a bunch, but I just needed a little more red meat. Because I would eat a burger or a steak once every 3-4 months.
Right.
So that was good for me, because I was like, okay, cool, next cookout, I'm good. Or next time we go to Maestro's or a steakhouse, I can get one. Now, I'll be honest, I love the taste of meat. I don't have to eat it all the time.
Right.
So that's the whole thing. But
it's like when I think about it, just what you said, I might eat red meat once every 6 months.
Right.
It's not actually a lot.
Right.
Eat more chicken, eat more fish.
Eat more fish.
Eat more turkey, things along those lines. So also when it comes to, I'm going to go to my panel in a second, also when we talk about, we talk about nutrition. Okay, so you just mentioned vegetables. All right, I hate most vegetables.
I know.
So, I do. I hate nearly all of them. But is there a difference between eating the vegetables cooked or raw, or doing them in a smoothie? Is it the same?
It's raw, and smoothies are close to each other. Cooked, not. Now, there's some vegetables like bell peppers. Some bell peppers, the nutritional properties change. So they're good for you raw, but they're good for you in a different way when they're cooked.
Got it.
So that's something that we can really dig in the weeds on, and I can help people out on if they just want to hit me directly, because I can really cut through whatever their specific issues are. But raw vegetables, by and large, are good for you. Fruit, by and large, good for you. Cooked vegetables aren't terrible for you.
So, okay, so let's deal with fruit, because what gets me is you got all these, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram nutritionists out here. Then folks are like, oh, no, don't eat too much of that fruit, or don't eat this fruit. Oh, no, can't have too much watermelon, can't have too much pineapple, can't have too many blueberries. Then you're sitting there going, well, damn, what in the hell can I eat? And some people get so frustrated, they just go, man, what the hell, I'm just gonna eat whatever.
I love that you brought that up, because before we start feeding ourselves food, we should feed our minds with good information. So with that said, especially in the spirit of trying to make sure that we start off 2023 properly, and it's not too late. It's not too late to start off 2023 properly. What I want to do is feed the mindset. Everybody wants to get better. Generally speaking, most people want to lose weight, but that's not everybody's goal. And again, we can talk about how to firm up these goals, one-on-one, but what I want people to think about is just what I call a 4-minute fix. Just while you're setting, because fitness people try to run away from the word resolution.
Got it.
Because they're afraid that the people out there listening and watching, we can't enforce or maintain these habits. So what you gotta do is make these habits palatable. So what we wanna do is take a minute every night and just think about what your goal is. If it's losing weight, if it's building muscle, and then dedicate just 2 minutes the next morning to that. So if you're gonna eat more apples, when we talk about apples, if you're gonna make a smoothie, if you're gonna do jumping jacks, push-ups, whatever, just think about it for a minute the night before, commit just 2 minutes to yourself. Do those 2 minutes the next day, and then pat yourself on the back for doing it. In literally just 4 minutes, if you make that, you can make that a habit, because we all have 2 minutes. You make that a habit every day, then once 4 minutes, you realize what 4 minutes really isn't, then you can make it 6 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, and extend it. And every day that you make it a habit, you actually can reinforce it and stick to your resolution.
Questions from our panel. Renita, you first.
Well, thank you for the information that you're providing. This is very, very helpful. As Roland mentioned, so many people get overwhelmed when you start to talk about nutrition and fitness. So what are your top small tips of what everyone can do to lose fat and increase energy?
Let's do 2. All right, 2. So like I said, I'll reinforce what I just said, that 4-minute fix. Think about just the one thing you're trying to do and dedicate just 2 minutes to it. Everybody has 2 minutes. Take 2 minutes and just do that. So if you want some exercise that'll work in 2 minutes, DM me, I'll give them to you. Make sure if you want to eat something better, pick an apple, pick something simple. Apples, berries, melons are all great for you in terms of fruit. Any green, dark leafy greens, they're good for you as well. And just invest 2 minutes of your time in eating that. Every day. If you trip up and can't keep up, just start over. 2 minutes, we all have it. Am I making sense so far?
Or again, what I had to do is sort of you grabbing those chips or the cookies, you grab the green apple, you grab those fruits, that are easy when you're moving on the go.
Right, and so to that point, when you're overwhelmed, go back to basics. Don't try to juice the whole garden. Don't try to make a huge, just grab an apple. You'll be amazed. It's literally true. An apple a day will keep the doctor away.
90 seconds, 2 more questions. Omakongo, go.
I appreciate everything you're saying about what to eat. My question is about when to eat. Can you share your thoughts on intermittent fasting?
Yeah, so when you go to sleep, if you're sleeping as recommended, which means 6 to 8 hours, that's an intermittent fast. If you think about it, that's why the first thing you eat is called break fast, right? What I want you to do is get in the habit of juicing. Get a juicer, not a blender, a juicer. And again, DM me, I'll give you the details, but get a juicer, juice within 90 minutes of waking up, and I promise you the rest of your day will go a lot smoother when it comes to nutrition.
Really? So, because what I'm doing is I'm actually working out on an empty stomach, then having my first meal post-workout.
I'm not mad at that. Okay. If you can hack it. But you want to get some energy because if you...
don't worry about it. I got energy.
Yeah.
That ain't the problem.
Because if you miss that, then you will go for cheap energy, and that's when you start hitting the sugars.
I got enough energy. I'm good. Julian, go.
All I want to know is, as a middle-aged, maybe old woman, what would you suggest to me about how I re-up energy? I eat well. I exercise.
Gotcha.
But what you got for me?
So when our, not just yours, not just women, but when men and women's bodies start to change as we get older, the paradigm shifts, so the things that you used to do don't necessarily work as well now. DM me so we can talk specifically about that, because I'm working on Women's Hormones Health Workshop. So hit me up, go to 6weeksuperyou.com, DM me on Instagram, and if you hit me,
No, dude, you're supposed to give me some tips right now.
6weeksuperyou.com is the website.
Julian, calm down. The man said DM me. He gonna hook you up.
DM me, because if you put RMU in the DMs, I'll know that you saw me here. I won't charge you for the consultation, but I will give you a consultation that I promise you will help you be your best.
All right. So again, the 6 week. Get the website again.
6weeksuperyou.com. The number 6weeksuperyou.
Okay. And what program? What's the program?
And that program is a 90-day program that actually will have me walk with you for 3 months, day by day, every single day. It won't take no more than 5 minutes out of your day, and you will actually have my guidance so you can make these habits your lifestyle.
Got it. All right. Cootie Mac, I appreciate it, man.
Oh, man,
thanks a bunch. Again, your Instagram pulled up, folks. This is how you can reach him. Instagram, Facebook, email, his website as well. Check him out. Thanks a bunch, man. I appreciate it.
Got you, man.
Folks, again, go to 6weeksuperyou.com to get yourself started. I tell you, an all new you in 2023. Folks, that's it. I'll see you tomorrow right here. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Holla!